Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop. And these shoes are shoes that I didn't really like all too much. And just because I don't like a shoe, it doesn't mean that you're gonna hate the shoe. But it just in my personal opinion and my preferences, I don't think it's a good performer. So yeah, and also some of these shoes, they're pretty okay. It's just like one or two things that I didn't like about it that kind of made it unplayable for me. So I'm not saying like if a shoe's on this list, you shouldn't get it at all. I'll try to explain why I didn't like it. But yeah, I guess if you guys do want to cop any of these shoes, I'll try to leave them link in the description box. But let's get it started right off with the Jordan 1 Take 4. So that shoe actually was really nice. The traction was good. You know, that's actually top tier traction in the colorway that I had. The cushion also with the 4-foot top loaded zoom unit was nice. You know, I had a nice little bounce to it. Materials were thin, but the support was just not it. You know what I mean? And also like, I don't really need support that much. You know, I'm lighter, but it's just like, you're not using supportive materials at all, right? So you have that ripstop upper, which is just like that like see-through material, which is super thin, right? But then like also just super flimsy as well. And then underneath that, you had a very thin open mesh, and that's it. So my foot would move around inside of the shoe a good amount just because that upper was not supportive at all. And like, especially when I was doing lateral movements, you know what I mean? So because of that, I couldn't play in it. I really wanted to like it, however, you know what I mean? Just because the traction, everything else was pretty damn nice. And also for like $100. And I also like, I really like the previous shoe, the 1 Take 3. But the 1 Take 4, because of that, it's just like, I couldn't really play in it and enjoy it. So I guess, you know, if you don't do a whole lot of lateral movements or you don't need that type of support, then obviously you should be fine in that. But for me, I need that support. So the 1 Take 4 is a shoe that I didn't really like to play in, you know what I mean? And next is also another Russell Westbrook shoe, and it's his signature shoe, which is the Why Not 0.6. So pretty much the same exact issue, you know what I mean? The 0.6 is just like, it wasn't terrible, right? But the fit also was like a little bit roomier in the toe box than the 1 Take 4 for me. So then like, because of that, and also I guess like the upper is a little bit more supportive than the 1 Take 4, but it still wasn't super supportive. So when I was doing lateral movements, like my foot would like move this way. You know, like if I'm laterally moving, it would go like this and then just go up inside the shoe, and just like I didn't feel super responsive because of that. Also, the traction was not amazing. It would pick up a good amount of dust. If you're playing on a clean court, it was good, but not so good on dust. And I play on a dusty court a lot, so traction also not good. Also the cushion I didn't like just because the 4-foot zoom unit bulged up a good amount, so it just felt like my foot was going like this. Usually it's like this, but in that shoe it felt like it was going like this. So also I didn't like that. So yeah, the 0.6, I would say don't get that shoe. You know what I mean? 1 Take 4, I feel like there might be some people that don't mind it. You would like it, but why not 0.6? Probably not the best recommendation. I really wouldn't recommend it to you guys. Next shoe also I wouldn't recommend to you guys. Don't get this shoe. It's the Nike Kyrie Flytrap 6. It's cheap. It's a Flytrap model. I do like Kyrie's. Oh, I used to like the Flytrap 1, 2, and 3 were really good, but from that it's been you know what I mean? It's been going downhill in my personal opinion. But the Flytrap 6 was not good. The traction, it wasn't terrible, but also wasn't great. You know what I mean? It's a Kyrie. You have to have good traction. You know what I mean? But also the cushion was really bad. The foam has a good amount of compression and soft when you first get it, but bottoms out very quickly. And also the court feel is not good. You're pretty high up off the ground, which is like, if you're making a responsive, really stiff, crappy cushion, at least give us good court feel, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, it's not nice. The material, it's on the stiffer side of things. The materials weren't bad, but you know, it's cheap, you know, it's a Flytrap. So yeah, because of those reasons, the Flytrap 6 was not good, and I was pretty disappointed. And also like, there's not a lot of outsole curvature in that shoe as well comparing to older models. Like the Flytrap 2 or 3, those were like crazy, you know what I mean? So anyways, there's the Kyrie Flytrap 6. Next, we have a pretty nice shoe, right? But then there's just one thing that I didn't like about it, and that was the cushion. So yeah, we got the Jordan 37 and the Jordan 37 Low, and honestly I would recommend the low version to you guys just because the leno weave not super durable, you know what I mean? And the 37 Low is just better. You know what I mean? They're using better quality material. They're using less leno weave. So low top, I like playing in low tops better. Traction also is pretty damn good. It does pick up a little bit of dust, but once you break it in, it's pretty damn good. Cushion, however, is very, very crazy in that shoe. Super crazy, and it's just too much for me. I know some people were giving me crap, saying that, like, what? It's too much? Yeah, it was a little too much for me. So it's double stack zoom in the forefoot. It's a large, very large volume zoom unit. And then on top of, like, on the second layer, right, we have forefoot zoom treble. So you have zoom pretty much right underneath the foot. It's not articulated pretty much at all. Like if you look at full-length zoom treble, like in the KDs or in the Cosmic Unities, it's articulated, you know what I mean? So you have bounce pretty much right where the zoom is. But then in the 37 setup, there's really no articulation. So you have that air kind of like moving around, right? It feels a little unstable in the forefoot for me, and just like has so much compression just because it's double stacked. So yeah, I didn't like playing that shoe just because it was too much, you know? I mean, obviously if you want crazy bounce, a lot of compression and stuff, then you'd like it, but for me, I didn't really like it. And that just sucked because I liked everything else about that shoe, especially in the lows. So yeah, there is the Jordan 37. Next, we got the Puma TRC Blaze Court. Just that shoe is not very nice. The traction was not it. You know, on the surface that I was playing, just would not get a good bite, even though I tried breaking it in. Even like on a really clean court, it wasn't amazing either. So the traction was eh. The cushion was super bad as well. And I would just get, like, I play a lot of basketball and I don't really get blisters that much. You know, like some people, I'm just like, I recommend the shoe to my friend and they're like, oh, I got a little bit of blister. I was like, oh, I didn't really experience that. But in the TRC Blaze Court, my foot, I got crazy blisters as well. So that didn't feel good. The materials also not super supportive and feels super cheap. It just sucks because the TRC Blaze Court design-wise looked really good to me. And I thought it was gonna be nice when I first got it, but once I played in it, I really didn't like it. And I don't think I would recommend it to you guys, right? There are a lot better options out there. So yeah. Next, we got also a shoe that's weird, right? The high top is nice, but the low top is terrible, right? So I'm talking about the MB1. And the MB2's out, but then the MB1 and MB1 Low is still available on Puma.com. Well, I just checked and it's still available. Maybe it's not available now when the video releases. But anyways, the MB1 Low is terrible. The traction was not good. You know, I had the highs, right? So I had two colorways of the high. I had the regular, like the first color that came out, the orange one, and also the Rick and Morty's. And it has a translucent outsole, and it had a pretty damn good bite. And I love the outsole curvature. But in the MB1 Low with the solid rubber, it just would not get a good bite. Terrible, terrible traction. Also, because it's a low, I had a good amount of heel slippage. I would say worse than the KD15s. The mid tops, I didn't really have any heel slippage. So do not get the MB1 Low. Just if you want to get the MB1, get the high and get the translucent. If you want to get the low, probably just don't get it, you know. So there's that. Next is a good shoe, and a lot of people actually, I feel like some people might be mad at me that I put it on this list. It's just that for me personally, I didn't really like it. Like I said, it's not terrible. It's actually a pretty good shoe. It's just the cushion was a little too much for me, you know. So yeah, the Dame 8. The Dame 8, the cushion, the Bounce Pro cushion is just way too soft. And I like to have a very responsive cushioning setup, you know. And low to the ground, the Dame 8, you're pretty high up off the ground, and the cushion is super duper soft. So I didn't feel super quick when I was playing it, right? Also, the traction picked up a good amount of dust for me personally. But if you're playing on a clean court, you should be fine. Material also is on the thicker side of things, and also overall there's a good amount of padding in the upper, so not the most minimal feeling shoe either. So I'm not saying it's a bad shoe. I definitely feel like a lot of people will enjoy it. Just for me, however, it wasn't the best, right? And same thing goes with the Zoom GT Cut 2, and I think, I mean, it's still a pretty good performer. It's just like I had high expectations, so I guess it's more like the disappointment for me, just because the Zoom GT Cut 1 was amazing, right? But the 2, you're just so freaking high up off the ground for the cushion, which I didn't like. Also, the cushion was a little too crazy, like super freaking bouncy. Traction also was a little bit disappointing comparing to the 1, although it's still like all right. It's still pretty solid, you know? And then also the fit and the materials in the toe box was just not the best for me either. So like I said, Zoom GT Cut 2, you should be fine. I mean, like, I feel like there's a good amount of people that would enjoy it, but for me personally, I didn't really like playing it all too much because of those reasons. So there's that. Next, we got the Airedale Dawn by Nike. Honestly, it wasn't terrible. It's just the traction was really, really freaking bad, especially on dust. Like, I don't think I've ever had a shoe just pick up that much dust. But yeah, it was really hard to wipe off as well. It just really got stuck on the rubber. So you had to freaking wipe constantly. If you're playing on a clean court, I feel like it should be okay. But yeah, I really like the cushioning setup, and I guess the material, super cheap materials, but it was like thin and soft, so I guess it felt okay on foot. But then like that Fly E system also was not great. You know what I mean? Like it worked, but then like it wasn't the best for support. You know what I mean? Like I would rather just like tie up the laces because that worked better, you know, for like actually tightening on your shoe for actually playing basketball, you know. So yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend the Airedale Dawn to you guys. Next, we got the Converse Prototype CX, and again, this shoe, I feel like some people might enjoy it, but for me, I didn't, just because it's so freaking bulky. You know what I mean? Like the foam comes up on the side and just like it just felt really bulky to me, and I don't like bulky feeling shoes. Yeah, like heavy shoes, I don't really mind as much. You know what I mean? Like for example, in the Harden Volume 7, but like nothing is crazy protruding out. It doesn't feel super bulky, right? But the CX is just like the foam coming up on the sides on both medial and lateral side. It just felt bulky. Traction also wasn't the best on dust. Cushion was and the material was like a little bit on the stiffer side as well. So didn't really enjoy playing in those either. But like I said, you know, support's good in that shoe, and I guess you can make it work, but in my personal opinion, there's better options out there. Next, we got the UA Spawn 5. The UA Spawn 5 was actually pretty nice, just the traction was not great. You know, the cushion I liked actually, and the fit was great, support was great, it's just the traction. So overall, I feel like it's not a terrible shoe, and I feel like there are a couple of people that would enjoy it. It's just like the traction was not great. You know what I mean? And just, but it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. So that's why I didn't really like playing the Spawn 5 that much. So it's also one of those shoes that's alright, but I wouldn't recommend it like fully to you guys. And last but not least, I would say the Kobe Crazy 1, which is the worst shoe on this freaking list. The worst. The new colorway that I got, like the Lakers colorway, is just not good. The traction, not good. Terrible traction. Cushion, terrible. It's just super stiff. Impact protection sucks. Your feet are gonna hurt. Super stiff material, super bulky shoe. Yeah, just very, very stiff. Like the sole, the material is just very boot-like. So I absolutely hated playing in that shoe, and I feel like it's the worst shoe on this list, in my personal opinion, to hoop in. That about concludes this video. If I missed any, or if there are some shoes that you guys didn't like that I didn't put on this list, tell us down in the comment section below. Or also, if you disagree with my list, that's fine too. If you disagree, everyone has their own preferences and opinions, which is fine. These are just in my personal opinion that I didn't like to play, right? But anyways, that about concludes this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.